a rotten hooker.
I thought I was a good Christian.
I go to church every Sunday.
I thought I was a good Christian.
I go to church every Sunday. I am a very religious person.
I thought I was a good Christian.
The very lies the serpent told to Eve in the Garden of Eden. Garden of Eden. Garden of Eden. The gospel of Jesus Christ. Spread confusion and promote lies. The gospel of Jesus Christ. Spread confusion and promote lies. The gospel of Jesus Christ. Spread confusion and promote lies. The gospel of Jesus Christ. Spread confusion and promote lies. The gospel of Jesus Christ. Spread confusion.
Hey everybody, it's Thursday, December 22nd, This Non-Religious Life. I'm your host, Ken. With me all the way across the country, we have Bob.
How's it going?
And Jason.
Hello.
And we have a very special guest. Bob,
Yeah, I brought my friend Paul in today.
And I haven't given him a good welcome.
Yeah, I know. Just, who's that guy?
Why the fuck are you here? No, but you are welcome. Sorry.
So I brought Paul in, and actually I was on the walk over here. It occurred to me Paul's kind of a gold mine of content. Today he's here in his capacity as sports guy because we want to talk about sports and religion. But Paul is also an identical twin, and he's a former Eagle Scout and a new atheist.
Yeah.
Well, you have a
welcome.
lot of negative strikes.
Nice.
I know. It's interesting. So there's a lot to talk about there. But
So what's it like being an identical twin?
I know. It's so weird.
Do you think God is
Yeah, I know.
laughing
I know.
at you?
It's creation as it goes, yeah. But, yeah, being twins cool. Alex is awesome. I like him.
yeah. Like if you got in a fight with him, is that some form of self-loathing? Like I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, and the way I always explain it to everybody is just what's sweet about it is, I've never known that feeling of like being alone. I mean,
Yeah.
I've always had somebody hanging around.
That's cool.
I wish I had.
Right.
That's cool. I have identical twin brothers who are a couple years younger than me. I was always jealous of that. They always had someone to...
Yeah, you always had a buddy. You always
you
had, always had a play date.
Cool. We got a comment on the website on our last episode saying that there's too much dead air during our shows.
Oh crap! All right, well we'll endeavor to fix that.
To which I say, deal with it.
Yeah.
No,
well,
I'm just kidding.
we're shooting from the hip
But
a lot.
of course, the person who left the comment, I'm glad they enjoyed the show and left the comment.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't put the issue to the people on the show. They put the issue to fix it on the editor. It's like, don't have enough content, so there's no gap. Just fucking edit it.
Oh my gosh.
Back to the
Take
Zen
that.
Yeah. Again, that's our need for the intern. So Ken, I have to, in the interest of being self-correcting and admitting when we're wrong, I did some reading, and I forget the relevant Supreme Court cases, but I read that there were some that the Supreme Court has ruled in the favor of religious groups using schools, like using school grounds, and it's exactly as you said that the administration can't be involved, they can't lead the group. However, the religious group has just as much. They have just as much right to be on or to use the school facilities as the secular groups. And it was interesting. There was a take on it that I hadn't considered, and it was that it becomes a freedom of speech issue in that the school cannot if the school were to disallow religious groups the use of their facilities, it would be discriminating against them based upon viewpoint. And apparently the freedom of speech issue trumps the Establishment Clause.
It is first.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. So there's that.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I went and looked back at that because after I saw that as a like sometimes you take like one view of an argument and I was pretty adamant and like I was like, no, there shouldn't be any religion at all, and but then I didn't consider that it was be discriminating against based on viewpoint, and so now I totally see that. You were absolutely right. And then when we were talking about the Christmas decorations on Colley Avenue. Mm-hmm. Did you know, and I'm not sure if this is relevant or not, but did you know there was another Supreme Court case, and they decided that the menorah is now a secular symbol of Christmas, much like the Christmas tree. The menorah is not considered a religious symbol.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it was a case in Pittsburgh, and they had a nativity scene like on the courthouse steps, and there was a Christmas tree, a nativity scene, and a big menorah, and it was a really complicated decision. But the way it shook out was that the Christmas tree was regarded as secular and could stay. The menorah was regarded as secular and could stay, but the nativity scene was regarded as overtly religious, and so it had to go.
I guess if it's an 8-branch menorah, that's kind of secular. It's an ethnic symbol.
Yeah. So but I thought that was interesting that the menorah is now a secular symbol.
Yeah, because I mean the 8-branch menorah is just the symbol of the Maccabean revolt when the Jews took back Jerusalem from the Seleucids.
Yeah, but it was interesting.
So it doesn't have 6, which constitutes the 6-day creation.
Yeah, well, so. But I'm glad we talked about it. I'm glad I learned something, and I'm admitting you were right.
The thing is, like, I used to be of the same mindset that you were, and the middle school that's right on Colley. On Sundays, there's a church group that holds their thing in there, and I was livid. I was pissed one Sunday because I was like, what the fuck is this? They're putting up a sign on public ground about some church thing. I was like, this is bullshit. And then I went and looked it up, and I was somewhat kind of more pissed.
Yeah.
I couldn't do anything about it.
You stomp home with all the righteous indignation. Oh, I'm going to show them.
Yeah. And then I was like, son of a bitch.
Right.
But yeah, it's a free speech issue, unfortunately. But. Yeah. The only way to find out is to try and do something there as a secular organization and see if they say no.
Yeah, well, right. Or go in and say that I'm a Satanist group and see how far that gets me.
Yeah, exactly.
But you're not a student at the school, so that'd be kind of
creepy.
Like,
yeah,
you
a study group for the esoteric old ones or something.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So anyway, that's me admitting when I was wrong and learning something along the way.
I'm not stuck in position because of dogma.
Yeah,
which is good.
But so the main reason I wanted Paul on the show today was because I don't know about you guys, but I don't really know jack about football. Like I'm kind of. I mean, I know I'm aware of the game. I know how it's played, but the finer points are lost on me. And in case you haven't been aware that Jesus has a quarterback, and his name is Tim Tebow, and he plays for the Denver Broncos, and he is all over the news lately.
I think he would do better if he was like doing commercials for Tebow, because I think that would be a much better marketing scam.
The Tebow?
Yeah.
Well, I think that's in and of itself is. Tim Tebow's an easy thing. Tebow time. It's the fourth quarter. Tebow time.
It's snappy. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
And the guy's even a meme now because when he scores a touchdown, when he scores a touchdown, he does the Tebow bow and he
gets on one knee and prays to God every time. Getting the touchdown.
It's become an internet meme.
You can Tebowing.
Kind of like teabagging.
Not at all like that.
So close. So close.
Kind of like teabagging.
Not at all. Not at all.
It involves, anyway.
Well, I think what I find
both are embarrassing.
Yeah. What I find most interesting is just the fact that how, religion in sports has been, there forever. I mean, from boxing to baseball to every sport. Point the finger to the sky, and thanks for the win. Thanks for thanks God, thanks Jesus for the the opportunity to compete, fight. You helped me win, and all that's well and fine. But at this point now with Tim Tebow, it's getting to the point where he's not even that great of a quarterback. I mean he's good. He's doing miraculous, fourth quarter, 95-yard drive down to the end of the game just to get the field goal to win the game. And, it's awesome. It's wonderful. But, to start the season, I love football. To start the season, though, he was a third-string quarterback. He wasn't considered to even be, well played in the game. But
do we know what God he was praying to at that time?
Right.
Well,
but he started praying harder.
And the mystique of Tebow's even started back since in college. I mean, he played for the Florida Gators, where he won 2 national championships and the Heisman Trophy. But even before then, on his sticker eye makeup, he was writing like John 3:16, like on the eye things, like just biblical quotes. What's the other ones I saw?
He starts every interview whenever they put a camera in his face. He starts every interview by saying, "I would like to thank my Savior, the Lord God Jesus Christ."
Right.
When you put a camera in front of his face, those are the first words out of his mouth.
Is he doing this for like a sponsorship? I mean,
yeah.
I mean, seriously, it's like Jerry Falwell throwing some money his direction.
That's a good point. And he ends every interview by saying, God bless or thank you, God. But his dad runs a missionary in the Philippines, and it's they do evangelical missionary work in the Philippines. That's what his family does for a living.
So he's not having sponsors from big Christian right groups. That's just ingrained in
his dad is a Christian right group. His family.
But what does he do? I mean, in the Philippines, we don't. Are they doing good works, or are they just really going in and destroying their culture and bringing in?
It's mainly a conversion, group. I mean, conversion to Christianity, to the Philippines. I mean, Philippines, anyways, is from what I understand, just a really Christian-based country in itself. But now it's there to change the culture and speak the word of the Lord to everybody over there.
I think the will of the Lord is just to get American capitalism involved in these countries.
Well, what was his dad's name? Is Bob Tebow or something like that? I think it's Robert or Bob that he goes by. But anyway, yeah, they have a Christian missionary group in the Philippines, and they have a website, and on their website it lists their priorities, and their priorities are conversion, church planting. Those are the top 2. I forget the other 3. But like charitable work and feeding the hungry aren't even on the list.
Yeah.
That goes hand in hand with seeding the church.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, with missions like that, the feeding the poor and stuff like that, usually those aren't the ends, those are the means. It's sort of like, we'll feed you, but you have to come pray to our God,
Right.
That's how missionary work's been done for centuries.
I was just curious to see on their webpage where they list their priorities. Feeding the hungry wasn't even listed. It was.
What I would like to know is, since he's been doing this and getting national press for doing this, for
Sure.
mentioning Jesus, going down on one knee and all that, has his father's missionary started gaining more donations?
Yes, it has.
A lot more.
And when he played in college, the NCAA had to finagle around some rules in order to allow this money to go to his family's missionary foundation and for him to still be able to play college football. And I don't know exactly
when you say this money, what money?
The money that people were giving to the his family's missionary work. And so I think ultimately what they had to do.
Well,
it's a big no-no in NCAA sports in general for athletes to receive any kind of money, any kind of promotion. I mean, look at Reggie Bush. He was the Heisman Trophy winner for USC. Stripped away his Heisman Trophy because they found out his mom got like a free house.
So you're
by
saying
an
that
agent
the family, anybody that's related
that's
to
getting money from an
cannot-
outside,
Yeah, so what they had to do is they had to have like his dad is still in charge of the mission, but like he had to remove himself from the board of directors. They had to do all this finagling around to allow Tim to play college ball because his family was getting a lot of money.
free donations. I mean, you just can't get free.
Tim
you can't
Tebow's
just get
out.
a free card just because you're the star quarterback in a national level.
Yeah.
It's still college, and it's still supposed to be just open availability for anybody. I mean, just all because you're rich or poor or anything like that should have no bearing.
But that's
on
just on college level, not on the national.
no.
Right.
As soon as you touch as soon as it touches the NFL level, bring on the money.
Yeah.
We'll take it. It's millions. It's $1 million business.
That
billions
seems like a
even.
pretty good racket they got going on.
And I'm not saying how it was handled was unsavory or wrong. I'm just saying there's money involved, and they had to go through all of these hoops just to allow him to play college ball because of the money that's going to his family's organization.
Right, and I think this is where I think the real issue lies is that now we're saying it's okay because he's God's quarterback. I mean, it's I think we discussed a little earlier too. It's like, would it be the same thing if the guy was Muslim? Would we be talking about the same issues? And I really don't think so at all. I mean,
But even if we don't even have to look at other religions, we can look at like Michael Vick. If he during the height of his controversy started praying to Jesus, it would not be an issue.
oh, I mean, in fact, you're right. I mean, I think
People would be like,
I
"He's a
think-
Christian." Ignore it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're 100% right. I think even if it did happen, like where dogfighting busted, Michael Vick, evil bastard, but goes to jail and comes back out and says, I found the word of the Lord.
I'm amazed that did not happen.
I mean, I am too. But I mean,
Yeah.
that's where I found out. I think what he did was totally horrid and can't believe it. But he served his time and lost all his money. For this the dog fighting ring. So in my word, I mean, so once he started back in, everybody's like, I don't like him. I don't want him to play anywhere. I was like, man, he, in our system, he did the time, couple years in jail and lost all his money that he earned in football. He lost his house, money, home, everything, and had to start back from scratch. And that's why I was kind of one of those like, hey, look.
But he's not performing as well as he did. Prior to that,
He's a starting quarterback in the NFL.
But that's not necessarily how our system works, because if you can look at other people who rape women, people who are pedophiles,
Right.
when they serve their time, they come out. It's not
Same.
starting fresh. They are still being pushed aside and are not allowed to to be a part of certain.
And I agree with you. But and if you wanted to make legislature that would make the penalties for being convicted of what Michael Vick did more severe, then I would get behind that. Only now he and I'm not advocating for the guy at all, but he served the sentence that was handed down to him under the system that we have, as imperfect as it is, and I can't.
I wasn't arguing about his sentence time and what ruling. I was just making the statement that it's not as easy. You serve your time and you come out, you get to start over, and people can accept you because depending on the crime. I mean, it's just because we
I see
put
what you
different
mean.
levels on abuse or whatever as a society.
I'm amazed. I'm amazed he didn't come out of prison like a convert or new into Jesus.
Well, I think
because
he
that
did.
seems
I
to
think
be
there
the
was
thing.
a small press release. I think they were just throwing shit to the wall to see what would stick. Because I think there was a time that he came out and said that he has been going to church. He was doing something, and they were trying to do that.
Yeah,
but
well,
it didn't stick.
I think it's more of a I'm staying out of trouble.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not going out.
So that begs the question, like, what's the Tim Tebow meltdown gonna be?
I think that's a real great question. I mean, at one point, when is this nut gonna crack?
Well, that's what happens. I mean, 9 times out of 10, when it's a politician being anti-gay, when it's somebody taking an extreme focus, not necessarily a view, but an extreme focus where media is just doing a blitz on it.
I know. I mean, like one day we're just gonna find out like he's like little boys the whole time.
Oh no!
Yeah, or something like.
Christopher Hitchens used to say, you can set your watch by it.
Yeah.
The second you get someone who's like super, like just over the top into it, and and I mean, he's not friendly to gays. I'm just gonna say that right now. He was
He's in the wrong.
he was a big
sport for
friend
that.
of Focus on the Family.
Well, right. That's
anti-gay,
another thing.
anti-abortion group.
There's another darker element to that where Focus on the Family, and I'm pretty sure that was the group. Focus on the Family paid millions of dollars for him to be in a Super Bowl ad with his mom that was basically an anti-abortion campaign. Paid for and sponsored by Focus on the Family. And what they say is not necessarily true because...
Really?
I mean,
they were
more into content about that. You were right. They didn't say the actual words of either like pro-life or abortion, but it was totally implied, in the Super Bowl message. I mean, you got people standing up for both sides. I mean,
well, it's funny that but this actually ran during the Super Bowl.
During the Super Bowl,
because
we're talking about major.
My previous job, which is a nonprofit, would always try to get their message on Super Bowl. They would pay for it and everything, and they always came back saying we don't run advocacy campaigns during the Super Bowl.
Right.
Not unless it's for Jesus.
Right.
Well, apparently, and apparently they've stepped back on that rule if they ran theirs.
So the ad was Tim Tebow and his mother, and the story goes, and this is like the premise of the ad. The story goes that Tim Tebow's mom, she was pregnant with him while they were in the Philippines doing missionary work, and she says that her doctors advised when she was in the Philippines, because she was in this tropical climate and there was a threat of disease or something or some complications, her doctors advised her to have an abortion. She didn't. Then she has Timmy Tebow. Look how great he is. He's God's little miracle, Jesus' quarterback, and this would have never happened if I'd have gone through with the abortion. And I don't think that that's necessarily true because...
Wait.
And
who the fuck cares? He plays football.
Well, no, and this is the point. I mean, the guy's winning games. He was 7-1. I mean, he just lost the last one to the New England Patriots. But I mean, coming back, fourth quarter wins, 7-1 as a starting quarterback was amazing. But here you go. You have Tebow's mother with was advised to abort her son, following a placental, abruption. But she refused, and guess what? Praise Jesus, we have Tim Tebow now.
I would be more supportive if, like, he invented something.
Yeah, right.
That helped humanity.
Well, I mean, that, and you're right about that. Like, I don't think he's really contributing a lot, but
he's contributing to his bank account.
Apparently,
he's contributing to his family's bank account. He's not contributing to anything that betters anyone's life other than somebody who loves football.
No, he's bringing the word of God.
So no, and exactly. Does it bug you at all? Like, the guy's never been late.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. I mean, he's on that Christian path.
That's what he says.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Wait till marriage before before you have sex, kind of thing. Which is kind of like
that's fine. I mean, that
just bugs me.
What, you want to fuck him just to?
It's just amazing to me. Where the the National Football League is just cheerleaders, sports, muscles, men, women, like it's all ads of near sex. I mean,
rampant sexuality.
Wait a minute. I used to tour all the time. I was surrounded by 20,000 people every single day of my life. We were on tour buses. There was groupies, and I was on tour with straight edge people. When the day is over and the show's over, and you have a short drive, the number one thing you do is drink. The number two thing you do, if you're inclined to, is to find somebody to hook up with and go play some CeeLo or something. So for being on tour with people who are straight edge, who don't drink, don't do any of that, that's fine. I don't see a problem with a guy being in the NFL not having sex.
Oh, no.
I don't
think that's the issue.
I mean, that says more to his character than him pimping for his father's missionary.
Well, I don't consider whether he gets laid or not a measure of his character.
No,
I'm just saying.
Like I said, that was just a little side note of you bug.
It just bothers you.
Just
Wait, Ken was on tour and he didn't drink.
But his mom's Super Bowl ad, I think she's saying things that aren't true because somebody pointed out that abortion is illegal in the Philippines. So how, and a doctor would never advise that. So I don't think her story holds up. I think that whole Super Bowl ad and I should have had an abortion but I didn't and now we have Tim Tebow. I think that's like an apocryphal story. I think it's just something that was essentially made up to make the story better.
You know what would have made the story better?
Fabricated.
What would have made the story better is if she goes, I was told to have an abortion. I didn't. I now regret it. So my husband made this motherfucker learn to play football. So we make the money back that we spent on raising him. That would be awful.
But so, with I guess apparently along with sexuality, religion has gone hand in hand with sports all the time. I mean, how many times do you see a baseball guy or anybody else, any other sports figure that always says like the good Lord willing and the creek don't rise, we're going to win the game, play them one at a time, blah, blah, blah.
Well, exactly.
That's what I don't get. Like this guy's getting so much press for all this, but I was like, doesn't everyone pray when they get a touchdown? Like, I mean, these are all, dudes that are probably.
But he's getting his press is because the press releases are being written for him. He's already proven that he has the American family, not the American Family Association, but family values. Focus on the family behind him. He's already he's in bed with these groups that they do nothing more than put out press release, get media attention about Christian stuff.
Yeah, but I guess I should know better when I say that. But
yes,
it's weird because I don't understand. I don't watch football. I don't really care about. Well, football. I mean, you could even say I do like.
I've had a lot of sugar.
Baseball though, and everyone, it's always just like that every time home run or.
Right. Well, I mean, exactly. I mean, saying if you're a Red Sox fan and if David Ortiz writes a scripture on his bat. As long as he's hitting that long ball, I mean, he's hitting home runs. You can write whatever the hell he wants on that bat. You know what I mean? Like, because as the fan, long story short, you're rooting for your team.
Yeah.
But I think at this point too, we're not even talking. They were calling for Tebow's name as the third string quarterback. Before the start of the season. They were losing record at the time, and they were just saying Tebow, bring him in. And I think that's where you're talking about. You're not even talking about the teams so much anymore. It's like we're talking about Tim Tebow and Jesus saving him, which I definitely wanted to bring up that Saturday Night Live skit with.
That was hilarious.
He's like, whoa.
And he's like, hey, gotta. I can't keep coming in the fourth quarter and keep saving you every time. It's tiring work every Sunday. I'm a busy man.
Did you know that?
I like the fact that he's like, I prayed at whoever the guy kicked the field goal or whatever. Right. He goes, "You prayed to me?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm just not up in everybody's face about it."
That was funny, and when he says like, what did he say about like Peyton Manning? He's like that guy. What did he say? Like, if I'm the son of God, Peyton Manning, that guy's like his cousin. He works miracles. Yeah.
I didn't get that joke. I'm sorry. I don't know who that is.
Peyton Manning? No, he didn't play this season. He had 3 neck surgeries.
Or no, it wasn't Peyton Manning. It was the quarterback for the Patriots. That's who. Tom
Brady.
Tom Brady. That's who he mentioned. That was a really funny Saturday Night Live skit. But did you know that there was I looked on the Fox News site and they had a little blog about that, and they were kind of like giving it the wag of the finger because it was really critical of Tim Tebow's religiosity, and Fox News was like, only Saturday Night Live poking fun at him. I mean, poor old Tim Tebow, and Saturday Night Live, shame on you.
Yeah, poor old Tim Tebow with his multi-million-dollar contract. And can do whatever he wants.
I don't know.
It's just he's become a product. He's being marketed as a product, and that's why he's in the media. Well, that's why we were paying attention to it, because if he didn't have these groups behind him, nobody would carry drops to his
right.
name.
And so we're saying like I had a buddy even saying the same thing about it. That mostly media, that's driving this out and hitting it home. But at the same time, when you see like someone like a Terrell Owens or Chad Ochocinco, where shit talking is their number one favorite thing to do. I mean, signing the ball, illegal stuff, and taking the fine, and they're just they're happy to disrupt the sport just in the name of shit talking. And in a sense, to me, I find
Well, that's
with
good,
him,
clean fun, though.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I have no problem with that at the same time too. But at the same time, we're finding these people for doing that. But when this guy, Tebow, he's doing his Tebowing thing, gets on one knee, prays after everything. I mean, in some small way, I have to say that's shit talking as well.
Yeah.
I mean, the guys on the
Because
field,
everybody on the field's not going to be
right. And when did God just make the one guy thanks God for making me able to throw that touchdown pass to win the game. You helped me do that kind of thing, where it's like, so did God really hate the Chicago Bears that day? I mean, it's kind of disappointing, and that's where you're finding that religion in sports is getting entwined into a sense where it's not the same anymore. It's turning into a shit talking thing, where it's like, thanks God.
I don't think we should be surprised by it. I mean, because Rick Perry the basis of the show, we were always talking about how every day the religious right comes out and says, we are going to reclaim America. We are going to bring God back into this country. We're going to do everything in our power to make God number one in America. So stuff like this is just part of their plan. It is part of, seriously, there's somebody writing press releases, sending it out to the papers and the media, and that's why they're talking about it.
Yeah, I think you're right, but I wonder. I always wonder, is we've said like religion and sports has gone hand in hand, right? The guy writing scripture on his bat, and as long as he's hitting them, nobody cares what he does. And personally, I don't really care what an athlete's religious views are. I don't think it matters. But what happens is that Tim Tebow is so public about it, and he's turning his sports celebrity into an excuse to evangelize and to do missionary work. Like that, like it's I think his sports persona is becoming a means to a religious end.
That's
I
the
agree.
plan.
I think the only way your religion would matter is if your religion was bench pressing every single day.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, I think when you talk about that subject at the same time too, it's always when you're talking about comeback wins and comeback kids and stuff like that. The underdog, which everybody loves. The one I think major flaw that you're not seeing with Timbo is the comeback guy is a defective character in itself. Like either he came from the streets or he came from a poor situation, and through God or through this church, he was able to rise above it or something like that. And so then you find a good story there, But Tim Tebow has had, the plush life. I mean, and so and he does. He goes to schools, churches, mission, Philippines, and just preaches the word everywhere he goes. And that's where you kind of find where it's like, you don't have to be in your face about it. We get it. You got the nice life, man.
But he's not just in your face with his religion. He's in your face with a purpose, and that purpose is to gain converts.
Right. And basically gaining fans. I mean, and that's what the sport
Well,
is about.
I think it's a win-win for both sides of the fence. It's a win for the Christians and win for the NFL because this is not a sports show. What the hell are we doing? We're talking about, sports. It gets people to talk, gets people to say, well, really, is he doing this? So we'll watch the game. It boosts the ratings for NFL.
Exactly.
And it also boosts donations for his family.
I mean, exactly. How many really religious people watch sports every Sunday? I mean, because you got to think.
Lots of them.
Aren't they in church on Sunday?
Yeah, but they have headphones. I mean, technology is awesome.
Right? The information age we live in.
Yes.
But I mean, that's the thing. I mean, Tebow's not going to church every Sunday, but he's doing something.
The Gridiron is his church.
That's
When I'm out in the field, I pretend that they're demons.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I just think that he's become.
I mean, he's written a book.
He's less a sports figure and more an evangelical minister. I mean, that's.
I think that's the plan. I think that's the thing that they've had since. I mean, I'm just learning about it, but it sounds like from day one, that's been the plan for him, is to get out there, put the word of God out there, help his family, get donations to put the word of God out there, and play football.
Yeah,
and do that by playing football,
Yeah.
not
Right.
play football and then the rest.
Well, I
comes
think
after.
if he did anything else, he would still do it. I mean, if he had any public image, he would still be doing that. Football.
I
just
think
happens-
evangelicals love that, though. They love the good shtick, the sort of niche character. I mean, it goes all the way back to the 50s. I mean, look at they used to have Marjo, and his whole shtick was he was the 4-year-old.
Oh yeah, the
preacher.
little boy.
Yeah.
the one that fell in the well.
Or anything like that. If they can work into a weird niche and then use that as their shtick to get converts, that's their thing. And I think Tim Tebow is that right now.
Yeah.
He's got the multi-million-dollar NFL contract. He's a good player, sure. He seems to pull it off every time. But
there's another aspect of his performance, and I think it's that, and I think you're right. Like these groups are pushing him out there. He's being pushed out there, and I think that more is being made of his performance and his wins than is warranted by the facts of the matter. Like they win that come from behind. Where was one where the guy kicked the field goal? What was it?
Right, it was a defensive play. I think it was against Chicago.
It was
where
against Chicago.
Chicago was driving the ball at the end. Defensively, they turned the ball over. I think it was even in overtime, and they turned the ball over. And all Tebow had to do was drive down the field just a little bit farther, and they didn't get that far. But the kicker had to kick a 51-yard blast. And we're talking about what was really more miraculous? Was it Tim Tebow, driving the ball like 20 yards? Not really going anywhere, or was it the kicker driving a 51-yard field goal in overtime? Talking about pressure,
And I don't even know that guy's name,
right?
But that's who you hear about is Tim Tebow won
His
the
name's
game.
Prater.
But coming from a background
in
of not
Tebow's
knowing,
defense, in Tim Tebow's defense, have you ever been to Chicago in the winter? God hates Chicago.
but 51, or however far
The
he
guy
kicks,
makes
is
a
that- is-
low percentage kick.
It's not a record kick, but it's
hard.
not easy.
Yeah.
I mean considering the football
It's
field is 100
impressive.
yards,
And
So
what are
it's
you saying?
well,
Like
more
kick
than
to half a football
Tebow's
field.
performance in that. So basically, that game, his performance is poor the whole game. He makes a couple of good plays in the fourth quarter. They get lucky, and then another player makes a phenomenal play to win the game. And the
somebody
credit goes to Tim Tebow, where his focus is on God and Jesus.
Can somebody email the guy who kicked the ball, find out his name, 1, and 2, who he prayed to?
His name's Prater. His last name's Prater. But
Why isn't he the story? That guy, guy kicks an amazing.
because
Tim Tebow's on the team. Therefore, God had a hand in the win.
And that's what the press releases
That's what
are
we're
saying.
talking
Right, but what I'm saying is more is being made of his performance than his like if you really want to talk about who the outstanding players are, I think the focus should be on Prater kicking that field goal, not Tim Tebow with God on his side leading the team, because I don't think that happened. That's the made up part of the story. The fact of the matter is that guy made an amazing play to kick the ball between the posts, and he did it under pressure, and he did it in overtime to win the game. So how come he's not the front page story?
Because we are close to Christmas and we got to sell shit.
Yeah.
I have to say one thing too. I play fantasy football and a big advocate of it. Love it. Makes you watch every game. Tim Tebow's on my bench. I mean, he's on my team. And
What the record with God? Yes.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. You might as well have a little extra luck. But he's not a terrible quarterback. The issue is too, he's not, the best. I mean, some of his stats, are just mind-blowingly funny. As a starting quarterback, one game he was 2 for 8, which is attempts to completions. So he only, out of 8 throws as a starting quarterback, he only completed 2 passes. Yet one of them was for a 50-yard bomb for a touchdown. Where it's like, all right, but we're talking about normal quarterbacks, and their completion attempts to completions are 25 to 38.
Oh, no shit. So
we're not
big.
We're talking about completely different stats.
There was a guy who has a blog on the New York
What's wrong,
Times.
Ken?
Sorry. No, just keep going.
Okay.
There's a guy's got a blog on the New York Times with a fifth down. He had a link to a website called like All NFL Stats or something like that, and they have this weird math behind it where they try to evaluate a quarterback and like his overall I'm trying to think of the word, like what he contributes to the win. And like what he contributes to winning the game, not just pass completions and yards, but like what his overall effect is towards winning the game. And I think they said like Tebow ranked like 12th in the NFL. Like and
yeah, I mean in sports, and I've been watching football most of my life, and there's definitely an X factor of winning. I mean, the momentum.
I agree. There's some. They said that he inspires his players on the field, and I think there is something to be said for that. But
you can't say that. You don't believe in homeopathy. Just kidding.
Well, I mean, I'm looking up stats too, just of last week's game where they did lose to the New England Patriots. I mean, that's a tough game too. I mean, it's hard to even say that. But you look at Tom Brady's stats. He was 23 for 34. 320 yards and 2 touchdowns. This is a great day. I mean, but the guy's throwing the ball. Now, look, Tim Tebow's completions. He was 11 completions out of 22 attempts. So he's 50%.
Yeah.
You know, he's only for 194 yards. But the other,
but he's at 50%.
Here's the X factor. The guy's a giant quarterback. You know, and he's running the ball in. He's got 93 yards and 2 touchdowns rushing. As a quarterback, I mean, you have a running back. You know, in the team, and yet this guy's just running the ball in, and it's kind of weird to see. Like when you watch it, you kind of keep going. He didn't do it again, did he? I mean, it's that. So there's something to be said, like you know, being religious or non-religious about it. I mean, he's definitely got some kind of X factor thing going on. Is it God? I definitely don't think so. But tell that to
but I just think like right now he's lucky.
But this is not uncommon. I mean,
clearly no.
Because I don't know anything about football, but I can name off names of football players like Emmitt Smith or what. It's
Reggie. Look at Reggie,
the refrigerator Perry or whatever.
Yeah, Reggie White, the minister of defense. I mean, look at that guy. I mean, he was an actual minister. Murdered people for Philadelphia. I mean, was considered one of the better.
But I just think every other season it seems that there's somebody that they pull out and focus on.
Well, that's the amazing part about it.
But it's been mainly
Aaron Rodgers, for the Green Bay Packers is, they just had their first loss actually, but they were undefeated. And you're talking about like if there was a minute left in the game, no problem. That's plenty of time for Aaron Rodgers to go down the field and win the game and score it down. But you're still saying that people are still saying Aaron Rodgers. Look at him; he's an amazing guy. But look at Tim Tebow. Coming back fourth quarter. Dude, the Denver Broncos might not even make the playoffs where, Green Bay's already clinched. Nobody's talking about, look at my 49ers. We clinched.
And that just goes back to then that's what the press releases are being pushed.
Right.
I mean, that shows the example. I mean, because if you have somebody, and again, my knowledge of football is very limited, but if we have this person who is, people are like, holy shit, he can bring out, this performance, get the points. And they're being ignored because somebody who's lower performance, it just shows that there is a bias, a focus, or a press release being sent out.
Absolutely. I guess statistically on paper, Tim Tebow is mediocre at best. He's just been lucky. And one guy said like there's 7 wins that he pulled out. Or was it 7?
Well, maybe that's why why people are taking it, because he is not an expert. He's not an awesome player. He's just average.
But they weren't even upset wins. They were just last minute
come back to win.
Last minute come back to win. Like if they'd have beaten New England, that would have been an upset win.
Wow. Because
New England was so highly favored. But so he gets lucky against other mediocre teams who are playing mediocre ball. And you can put that together. You can string those events together and say it's divine intervention.
So is what's going on is like when you have a kid and they're playing flag football or whatever, and your son's team wins or son or daughter's team win, you go, they won because my son was on that team.
Always.
Is that what's going on?
Always.
And it's always Tim Tebow and God, and people are standing. They're standing in the stands
Tebow
with
and God. Every time you say that, I think.
Well, so I mean, don't they? Isn't the thing now like people are in the stands with signs that like banners? We believe.
Yeah, right. We believe.
How professionally done are these signs?
I mean, right. God had a little work on them, but I mean, and there's a great article in the Wall Street Journal, and by Mr. Dodd, I think as he goes by, but he writes the article, and Tim Tebow, God's quarterback, and he just leads the Denver Broncos to an improbable victory after another, and defying all his critics and everything like that. It's revealing the deep-seated anxieties in American society about the intertwining of religion and sports, and with that said, it's kind of one of those, like, where's the limit? And that's the thing. I never had a problem. I really don't have a problem with Tim Tebow now. It's just the fact that, like, God's on his side helping him win is where it's kind of crossing the line.
I think where it crosses the line, I mean,
you can thank anybody you want.
Yeah, face value, whatever. He can bow down and pray.
Thank mom, thank dad, thank anybody. I don't
whatever he wants. But where it becomes when you look under the surface value and you realize that people are making money off of this. There's an agenda behind it. There's not. Yeah. It's not just because this guy. He may be sincere and true believer of Christ. That's fine, but for it to be a major focus, you have to look at why it's being a major focus. It's not because he's a great player. It's not because he's praying to God. It's because religious groups are backing this to get this on front page of the sports.
Right.
So
I wanted to comment one more thing. And you were talking about the charity, and when he was in college and the issues that he had. Just looking up right now, that he wrote a book, Through My Eyes, and after he won the Heisman, he's still in college.
So he wrote a book after he won the Heisman, so he was already
still in college. Okay. And in 2007, and he did it to raise money for his family, that an orphanage and an organization that his family runs. So that's why he wrote the book, not for profit for himself, but for this orphanage. Sure. Fine. Well, the National College Athletic Association is like, whoa. That's money. You can't be making money, while you're in school or a college player. But they spun it around to where he made it the charity in school, where Tim Tebow in his senior year did a powder puff football tournament that he launched. With the help of the university's sororities and fraternities, raised $340,000 for charity in college, senior year.
And that charity was his family's missionary work,
right? Yeah, you know what I mean. That's not pennies.
So okay, Tim Tebow's family is doing the missionary work in the Philippines, right? And
good or bad, we don't care, but that's happening.
But that's going on, and their solution to poverty and problems in the Philippines is missionary work and orphanages and converting people to Christianity. So boxing a lot too. Guy you like a lot, Manny Pacquiao. Mm-hmm. He is overtly religious as well. However, he does not start every interview with I'd like to thank my Savior, the Lord God Jesus Christ. He just does interviews, and he's involved in the Philippine politics, trying to make a real difference.
Right, he's
in the culture.
He's part of the Senate,
he's not starting missionaries. And what I'm saying is, here's a guy who's wildly successful and is religious, but his religion is not the forefront of what he does.
Right. He
needs to change his attitude.
I know. Well, he might
be
pound for pound the best boxer ever to live, Manny Pacquiao. But he's right. I think you're not seeing that too. And maybe he'd be more prolific. And more people would know about him if he did make a religious stink about it,
But I think it probably, since he's in politics, it would be counterproductive for him if he's actually working for real change. It would be counterproductive for him to use his boxing career as a political platform for causes and stuff.
Well, I think it definitely helps.
Wouldn't be unheard of.
Well, no, it wouldn't be unheard of, but
Could you imagine a boxer writing scripture on his gloves and then?
Yeah, yeah.
Sure, it's happened. I mean,
This is God, and this is the Holy Ghost.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like when Manny Pacquiao, when he does press conferences, he doesn't go like, "Oh, I won because God told me I was going to win." He wins because he goes, "I trained like a crazy person for months for this fight.
Right.
I trained and I trained and I trained," and it's not because God told him. Because have you read the stories where some of the other teammates on Tim Tebow's on his Broncos, they'll go out for a pass, and I'm wondering if he's retrodicting this. The stories haven't been made clear, but there's like the guys are saying like Tim Tebow will go like, "You're going to catch this pass because God told me you would."
I see. I've not heard that, but I mean,
I've seen his quotes. Yeah.
I mean that would just now you're really
See,
stepping
like,
on my
if
toes,
you're
man.
in the huddle and he leaned over and goes, "I'm going to throw you the ball. I'm going to drop that ball just because you told me that."
Yeah, yeah, right. But I'm wondering
pressure.
if he says it
God's still only
beforehand.
watching.
Like, does he say that beforehand, or is he retrodicting? Is it like, oh well, you caught that pass because God
because-
told me you were going to do that?
Yeah.
I'm curious as to which way it goes. Probably both ways.
You came over because God told you to.
He probably says like God says everything's going to happen, and then like then the guy just remembers the ones that were true, and forgets the misses.
Well, yeah.
Well, no,
doubt.
I mean,
the misses being the first 3 quarters. You know.
Yeah.
but that's not uncommon for a believer to say that. I mean, it's not uncommon. It's like, oh, this happened because that's the way God wanted. It's not uncommon for him to say that before or after because that's just part of the mantra.
And Tebow's famous for that. I mean, he'll walk out of every game saying, win or loss, it's just a game. I do it for God anyway.
He says that when they lose.
I mean, exactly. But I mean,
when he wins, he goes, "God was on my side."
Right.
But I think he's saying that God is on his side. He's just not saying it so confident.
Yeah.
I mean, win or lose, he's going to thank God and remind everybody that it's a game, and he's going to preach it with it regardless. I mean, he's not changing. Tebow's not going to change.
Wait, he's not. He as an individual, as a character, this is who he is.
Right.
No matter if he was a football player, no matter if he was a lawyer, flipping burgers at Burger King or something, this is who he is. He believes in God. There's no question in my mind that he's not a true believer.
I'm sure he's sincere.
Yeah. The issue at hand is the fact that he is being pushed by these fundamentalist Christians that have no interest of people's values.
I don't know if he's being he's definitely being pushed, but it's like that.
He's probably
That's what I'm saying. Push is
stepping
the
on
wrong
gas.
terminology.
Yeah.
Push is the wrong terminology because
He's driving the
for
car.
them to do press releases, for anybody to do press releases, he's going to have to agree to it. He's like, whatever's going to help. My dad will take care of this finer details. I trust him. Their backroom talks with these fundamentalist groups that are pushing these issues out to making him be a spotlight for Jesus.
Yeah. And I think it's funny too, right? That so the Super Bowl ad was funded by the American Family Value. What was it?
Focus on the family.
Focus on the family. And again, that's another one of those religious groups that has like the really hateful agenda, but has the really nice sounding name.
They are on the Southern Poverty Law for a hate group.
Yep.
And they say some pretty crazy fucking things.
Yeah.
Don't they all though? Don't they all?
Yeah. It's really bad.
That's what I'm saying is like, he's genuine, believes in his faith, but I'm saying that the people that are behind this media blitz do not have the people in their interest. They do not. These are the people who hate homosexuals. These are the people who hate Muslims. These are the people who hate everything that is not Christian. And that's where this issue, I don't care if he prays on the football field. I don't care if he wears a cape that says Super Jesus on it while he's on the field.
However, that would be fucking awesome.
It's the fact that he's
He's
becoming a product of these fundamentalist hate groups. And
probably by his own volition. I mean, like he Tim Tebow wants to be a part of this.
Yeah.
I mean, he's jumping full. It's not like he's just this misguided youth, changed
Poor
by
Tebow.
Right. No, this guy embraces it.
Yeah, because if he doesn't embrace it, he wouldn't start his interviews like that. He'd be like, I'm kind of going to distance myself from these people. But he doesn't. He's like, I'm going to use this opportunity to say this. By saying this, we'll drive donations to this. This group will support me more, support my family. There's trickled down through all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is, and you're right. I think you're finding that too. I mean, my girlfriend would say would say that they had a race car driver in NASCAR that they said, they got him to wear the product of her company's store, kind of thing. So every time that guy won the race, he'd have that shirt on, and she'd love it because it was like, there goes my online sales.
Yeah,
boosting up.
That's the way it works.
And you're right, and that's the best part about this. Win or lose, all he has to do is get on that press conference interview and say something about God, and bang, let's just give some more money to charity. I mean,
yeah. But all right, here's the thing. He has every right to do so.
Of course.
I'm not impugning his right to conduct himself in this manner. I'm just saying let's look behind the curtain and see who it is that is funding him and pushing him forward and like pushing these agendas. Like, let's see what they're all about. Yeah. And while I maintain that it's his right to conduct himself in this way, we also have the right to criticize him for acting such.
Yeah, because I wouldn't care even if he was doing this and the group that was funding his commercials for the Super Bowl was a Christian group that pushed positive messages, that accepted homosexuals, that accepted other groups.
I would welcome that. I'd be like, wow,
yeah,
that would be really out of character.
Like when we did the interview with the last interview,
Micah.
Of how it kind of changed our conversation because those people were actually doing something. If it was a group like that sponsoring him, pushing these press releases, and if somebody came on the show and said, let's talk about this, it's like there's nothing to talk about because there's nothing wrong with this.
Yeah,
it's the fact that the underlying reason behind all of this is oppression to other people. Then yes, there's something wrong with this and we should talk about it. And with that said, we have 3 minutes.
Oh my gosh!
Wow.
Oh, boo-boo that.
Time flies.
I know.
I hope there wasn't any dead air.
No, I don't think there was at all. So, with 3 minutes left, I guess we'll wrap it up. Jason will be happy to know I'm already working on the blog.
Woo! Wait, you didn't like my last email?
Oh, God. So, anyone who has any comments, questions, concerns, you want to call us out for thinking Tim Tebow is a mediocre quarterback? You want to say that maybe Jesus?
I would be surprised to see if we could probably do a dozen episodes and get no comments, no responses. But as soon as we start maligning somebody's sports hero, they're gonna come flooding in. It'll be
Ken and Bob, your job once this goes live is to put it on all the sports pages.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
You can call us. We have a phone number in case you are some sort of neo-Luddite and you hate computers. I don't know
how they're going to hear this show.
What we're on 757-337-2195. You can email us nonreligious@zombie-popcorn.com. You can like us on Facebook, facebook.com/thisnonreligiouslife. You can find us on Google Plus and put us in your circles there. Stitcher Radio app. Download it onto your phone. You can listen to not just our show, but I mean there are literally dozens and dozens and dozens of shows. I can't even count them. You could listen to our show back to back with, Olstein if you really wanted to.
Or our
Joel
other
Osteen.
shows that we do.
What's that?
Or the other shows that we do.
Yeah, those ones too.
Those I don't care about. Bastard.
You can download all our shows on iTunes. You can rate them, leave reviews, YouTube, and we have a newsletter.
Woo! Woohoo!
Woo! It's actually really, I like it. I think it's pretty sweet.
We're going to start doing exclusive content just for the newsletter, giving away contests that are just for subscribers to the newsletter, and fun things like that. So if you want to be a part of that, sign up for it.
Yeah, and we have, there's all sorts of cool stuff that we do through the network. So get on that. And then you can find out about not just the show, but other shows that we do as well. With that, I think that's just about everything we have to say this week.
That's our time.
That was it. 16 seconds over. Yay.
Paul, thanks for coming on, buddy.
Yeah,
Yes,
thanks for having me.
You're
thank
welcome.
you.
Yeah, yeah.
That was fun.
All right. Have a good night.
All right.
Later on.
Good night.
Just got out here.
I thought I was a good Christian.
Jesus died on a cross. I go to church every Sunday. Just got out here. Then I read that Jesus died on a cross for a rotten hooker.
I thought I was a good Christian.
I go to church every Sunday.
I thought I was a good Christian.
I go to church every Sunday. I'm a very religious person.
I thought I was a good Christian.
The very lies the serpent told to Eve in the Garden of Eden. Garden of Eden. Garden of Eden. The gospel of Jesus Christ. Spread confusion and promote lies. The gospel of Jesus Christ. Spread confusion and promote lies. The gospel of Jesus Christ. Spread confusion and promote lies. The gospel of